Hi. So we're now in Judges 7, and this chapter right now is about Gideon and his fighting three. I guess it's Gideon's valiant 300. So in the previous chapter, we left off with Gideon getting ready to go to war, and he's made a call out, and people have showed up to come and fight for this war against the Midianites. And when the people arrive, they arrive in droves, and the Most High sees all these people, and he's like, no, wait a minute. These are way too many people. We have to find a way to whittle them down, because he knew his people and knew that they would try to take the glory for themselves if they were just a bunch of people. So he whittles their numbers down. And one of the ways that he whittles the numbers down is that he tells Gideon to ask the people, hey guys, whichever one of you is, what he says in Judges 7:2, whoever is fearful and afraid, let him turn and depart at once from Mount Gilead. And basically, when he made that call, he had about 22,000 people leave. Fascinating. And so the thing that stood out to me is a bunch of things, but I think the major thing was I just found it interesting that the Most High uses the word fearful and afraid. It's almost like they're similar words, but later on we recognize that I think one of the words is better than the other one, and I'll explain in a second. And so it's almost like he didn't want to have that, both of those double-mindedness, or both of those at the same time. It almost represents like a double-mindedness. Like it's one thing, if it's one thing to be one thing, but you can't have both, if that makes sense. So let's see. So the Most High acknowledges afraidness, and I'm going to say it that way because the two words are almost like synonyms in modern day English. So it's I don't want to say, oh yeah, to be afraid is to be, no, I'll just say, from my reading and my understanding, the Most High acknowledges afraidness, but I feel like he has a problem with fear. Okay. And the reason why I can come up with that is that Gideon shows afraidness. Okay. I hope afraidness is a word, because I'm going to run with this. And the Most High acknowledges that afraidness, and he puts things into place that allow Gideon to overcome said afraidness. Okay? Later on, if you read, he orchestrates a dream retelling that encourages Gideon. Gideon overhears this dream being retold when him and his servant Pua go to kind of do some reconnaissance. And this, in many ways, sets him up for success. So it kind of reminds me of the whole idea that the Most High will fight for you and the Most High will show himself strong on your behalf. And it was very encouraging to hear that. But let me continue with this whole two-word thing. So to be afraid and fearful, in my understanding, are two separate things. They're also, and one of the reasons why I feel like they're two separate things is because they're separated by the word and. We're reading that whoever is fearful and afraid. And then later on, we read in chapter 10 to be, in verse 10. Well, let me start from 9. It says, it happened on the same night that the Lord, the Most High, said to Gideon, go down against the camp, for I have delivered it into your hand. But if you are afraid to go down to the camp with Pua, your servant. Okay. And then later on, in chapter 11, we do read, then he went down with Pua, his servant, to the outpost. So he was afraid. So again, he says, but if you're afraid, the Most High talking says, if you're afraid, go down with your servant. Gideon went down with his servant. So it showed that he was in fact afraid. So it shows us that afraidness isn't a problem. But what got those other people sent off, again, for me, was the fear part. And if I just may go to the New Testament for a quick second, For me, is it in Timothy? Don't quote me. That in the New Testament, I feel like fear is described as a spirit. It says, "Do not, uh, for I have not given you a spirit of fear, but one of, is it power, love, and a sound mind, or power, sound mind, and love?" Anyways, one of those, somehow like that. And it specifically describes fear as a spirit. So I thought that was interesting. Joshua also uh, in Joshua 1:9 is told to not be fearful. Okay, there's an emphasis on the fearful part. I know in our translations, if I still have it up, I think it says in the New King James translation, it says "Do not be afraid." But when I looked up the translation in the Brenton's Septuagint, lo and behold, it says, where are you? 1:9. Oh, I think I changed. I changed so quickly. So it's, sorry, let me just pull it up because I went to something else. Joshua 1:9 says, "Lo, okay, I've commanded thee to be strong and courageous. Be not cowardly nor fearful." So I guess that "do not be afraid," it's actually translated, it's a different translation. It actually says cowardly. Anyways, I'm losing where I was trying to go with this, but I think, well, first of all, translations matter. So you always kind of get used to, when you start really getting into these things, look it up in a different translation. I've been really liking the Brenton's Septuagint recently. From my understanding, it's like an earlier manuscript and is more accurate. So that's super fun. Anywho, I just wanted to share that stood out to me, the whole idea of afraid the Most High can deal with and he can use and can still work with you. There's something about being fearful that is not, I don't know, it's a problem. And it's still challenging for me to understand, because even as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, but they're so similar, I don't get the difference. And maybe this would take a deeper dive into the words. And even like when I was looking here, I'm just like, huh? And I feel like in the other translations, they kind of mix them. They say the other one first. And so it's kind of challenging. But regardless of that, I do recognize that the Most High is making a distinction. And he works with the afraidness. Let me just say it that way. Gideon is afraid and he's willing to work with it. And I think that should encourage us in a lot of ways, that the Most High is willing to work with us, even if it brings me back to Moses. Moses, when he started his journey, he didn't want to do it. Matter of fact, and I don't want to take the time because I don't know how to pause this thing to look up in a different translation what exactly he was. I know he's saying I stutter, I can't talk right, and the Most High was just like, probably rolling his eyes at him, say, okay, go with Aaron, So the Most High is recognizing our frailty, for lack of a better word, our fact that we're just humans, and he's willing to still work with us. And I gotta give it to Gideon for leaning on the Most High and taking him at his word. And I got to praise and continue just to worship and thank the Most High, that we serve a Most High who's constantly giving you an out. He's helping you. He's saying, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is what you need to do. And he's giving him specific directions and telling him how he needs to achieve whatever he needs to achieve and still be a success. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not like he's like, you can't be bold, you can't be courageous, I don't want to deal with you no more. No, he doesn't say that. He's like, okay, he gives you the option. He says, okay, I want you to go down the street and go wait by that corner right there. But if you're afraid, take your cousin and them and go down and wait there. And still, nonetheless, the blessing and the turnaround is coming. Either or, you're winning. As long as you're obedient to his word, boom. So the mere fact that the Most High is giving Gideon an option to take a friend with him just shows what a mighty and gracious and merciful Father that we serve, who's able to understand our frailty and provide for us and provide I guess the quote unquote, how do you say that when he provided the ram and it was like not the scapegoat, but anywho, if you guys know, it's providing. In spite of all of he's providing. Anyways, that really blessed me, and it was a really great insight to notice. So I believe that is it for number 7. All right, catch me number 8.